Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back down to the workshop. So I've got another video for you, and this time we're going to be doing a woodwork paint effect, how to make foam look like wood. Now I'm going to do two different methods. One's going to be a lighter shade and one's going to be a darker shade. So if you want to stick around and watch, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell button, and it'll let you know when I go live with new stuff for you. Okay, so let's jump straight back into it, shall we? Okay, so we have two bits of foam. Now these haven't been latexed, they're just painted two different colours. Okay, so in fact these are the ones we used for the marble effects on the back. So this one, as you can see, I have grained or ingrained into the foam with a Dremel or rotary tool. Basically just a simple little rotary tool bit on an angle like so. Yeah, and you just cut into it, random little shape lines, as many or as few as you want. It's entirely up to you. The more you put into it, the more wood-like it will look. Okay, if you're just doing sparse ones, it doesn't look very nice. Okay, the other option is not to put any in. So we've got a lighter shade on this, so if there's no wood grain in it, I tend to do a lighter shade because that's going to be more like an ash or a pine, which doesn't tend to splinter as much. It usually is smoother. Whereas like darker woods like oaks and things like that, they do tend to have little grains in them more. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So first off, they've just been painted, one with black and one with a yellow. It doesn't have to be yellow, it could be white. You want a bright colour behind it. I like to use yellow because I like to go for like an antique pine or an antique birch when I do my light colours. So I've just put a coat of yellow over that. Now if you use Flexi Paint Clear like I do, you can add any acrylic paint to this and it will become like Flexi Paint. So this will not crack. So when I put this onto a prop or a piece of armour or anything, it won't crack. Okay, so that's why I do it. Now I've got two shades. I've got here I've got a desert yellow and I've got a linoleum deck brown. So they're, as you can see, two different shades, a dark brown and a light brown. Okay, that's what we're going to need. So we'll take some of our dark brown pigment. Don't need a lot because I'm only doing these two bits. So just a little bit of the pigment. We don't need too much because the Flexi Paint Clear is going to be the bulk. This is just the pig. We're using it as a pigment rather than an actual paint. Okay, and then just add quite a bit of Flexi Paint to, don't matter how much because it's not going to thin it down. It will absorb that colour and that pigment. Mix it right in. So we're going to need at least 3 brushes for this. I tend to use one for the dark brown, one for the light, and then I will show you the one I'm going to use for what I call a brush off or a blender. Okay, so dark brown stays there. Now we're also going to need a lighter shade, so I'll light a shade here. Again, not too much, just enough. And then add the Flexi Paint Clear to it to give it some bulk. Now I'm only doing these two bits, so I won't need a lot. I've probably got more than enough in there, so make sure I've got another brush and mix that up. Okay. Now, so I've got my two pigments, or my two colours. I then want another brush, which is a blender, which I'm just going to use a little bit of water and then blend them together. Then you'll notice here I've got a very short brush. Okay, now you can use a normal brush for this, or a chip brush if you like one of these, that's fine. Yeah, I'll explain what this one's for later. Now, we'll start with the dark one. Okay, so all the way around the edges, whether you've got like a piece of foam here that's supposed to look like metal or anywhere, doesn't make a difference. Any edge, the top, the sides or anything, wants to be dark. Okay, so put a bit of paint on it. Yeah, make sure you get in the cracks. And go as wide or as thin as you like. Okay, now I want lines down the middle like a cage. Don't have to be perfect. In fact, it's better if they're not. Okay, now that's it for the dark one. Or we can make it, if we want it really dark, we can just widen them. Add a bit more paint to it so they're really wide. Okay, now you go into your lighter shade. Now try not to go over the darker stuff, because you're just going to take some of the darker paint into your lighter paints. Okay, so just like that, cover all the black if you can. Alright, now, not with those two brushes, with your blender, wet it. You don't want it too wet, like, just dry it off. And then literally just paint in and blend them in. Okay, now wash that brush because you want that again. Now, this is what the short brush is for. Okay, so we want this to look a little bit old, we want it to look a little bit battered. Okay, so against the grain, just gentle streaks. Take some of the paint off. You do as much or as little as you like. Okay, wash that off. Now, we're going to dry that, so we'll use the hairbrush. Okay, so we now have most of our wooden cover, yeah? You can see that. Now, there's a little bit too much black on there for me, so I'm just going to go in again along the edges with a bit of dark across my lines. Alright, and then a little bit of light. Yeah. Now with my blender, there we go. That looks a bit better. Okay, so we're going to dry that. We're almost there. So as you can see now, we have a proper wood grain. It's not uniform. You've got lighter shades and darker shades in there. Now, you can still see or make out 3 lighter lines. So what we're going to do now is, with our third brush, we're going to just get some burnt umber, just a tiny bit. Yeah, don't need much. Now what we're going to do is get a bit of water. Now this is a bit of water, just normal water. Okay, and we're going to mix that water together with the paint and create a wash. So now with the wash, go over everything. Make sure you get every little bit covered. Okay, nice and dark. Now, bit of tissue. Now don't dab, I want you to literally just drag. Okay, clean it off. Dry that. And there we have it. That is our dark wood grain. We have all our little lines with the dark wash inside. You can see the grain come out. It's not uniform. You've got patches of light and dark. If you want more light, just put a little bit of the lighter colour in, go over it again, or dab it in, just like we did with the wash. Put a wash on, wipe it off again. Make sure you wipe instead of dab. Dab doesn't work very well on this method. Okay, so that's our dark one. Now, onto our light. Exactly the same. The only difference is this has got a light background where this had a dark one. So the colours are going to be completely different, even though I'm using the same two shades. Okay, so around the edges, yeah, is always dark. Now, take our short brush and give me some of that yellow from underneath. Just little specks. Okay, don't need too much. Dry that off. Okay, that's what we're left with. So it's like a lighter shade. Now, a bit of dark. Okay, so put it on just like before, exactly the same. This is our wash. Okay, now this time we do dab. All right, so we're just dabbing it off, mixing it up, changing the paper every now and again. Okay, and then just gently take it down. Okay, and we're left with that. So you have our lighter shades. Now, if I'd have gone with a white instead of a yellow background, it might have looked a bit more like ash coming through rather than an old antique pine. Okay, so we've got a dark and we have our light. Okay, so we have our two types of paint effect for wood. Okay, we have the light. Now, if I hold this up to this camera, you can't see very much, but if I come away a lot, you can see some of the textures. Okay, now that's what we want for a lighter grain. Now, I used a yellow background. If you'd have gone white and took a bit more off, it would have come out like an ash, so like a greyish brown rather than just a lightish brown. Okay, now this one is our dark wood with grains in it. Now this one is the one I tend to use a lot of, okay, because I think it looks better than that one. Okay, so you have your light and you have your dark. Okay guys, so I hope that's helpful. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll answer them as soon as I see them. If you've liked the video and find it helpful, please hit that subscribe button and the bell button. It'll alert you when I go live. So yeah, I hope these videos are helping you guys. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.